Hello, cake fam. Recording. Yeah, cool. Just making sure that's working. Welcome to another video of me making cake for you on the camera. We're doing a little barnyard cake. So I thought I would run you through this process before I get too ahead of myself. I had some edible images printed at my local cake supply shop. So just on sugar paper. I've cut them out with my loyal surgical tool, scalpel. And I've just gone around all of the little things. I've left like a little white line. Obviously it's really hard, like for example, the tail, to get really close without things breaking. So I have left a bit of leeway in all of these. So I will show you how I do this, because I do get a few questions about this sort of thing. It's, I guess, each to their own. This is the way I do it. I use gum paste. I am a satin ice girly. I don't love the other brands of gum paste that are out there at the moment. They're a bit greasy for me, if that makes sense. I am satin ice through and through. So gum paste. I've got another cake with, so weird. I posted about this the other day on my Instagram. Like the other day I had 2 cakes in a weekend that both had textured patterns. And then the other week I had 2 Love Heart vintage cakes. And this week I've got 2 like edible image style cakes. Like it's great for me because I just do one style of cake. But it's so weird. It's like, do you guys plan this or... Anyway, so I do have another cake that I'm doing edible images for. It is Sonic the Hedgehog, but the black one. So same thing, I cut that out as well. So, but I've got to do that in another video. So actually, I don't know if I'll film that bit. We'll see how it goes. So I want to roll my gum paste. Now you can also just use fondant with Tylose powder or gum traganthium, which I think is what's in there. That's why I call gum paste, right? I don't ask questions. I just buy it and I just use it. It's fine. So big ass rolling pin, and I want it to be quite thin. Obviously. The barn I'll make a bit thicker because I'm going to shove some toothpicks in his bum so that we can stand him up on the top. Maybe the horse will go on the top as well because he's like sitting down. So now I'm just rolling this out onto baking paper so it doesn't stick to the table. If it is a hot, sticky day and my hands are really warm, I'll use corn flour. If you don't know, I actually hate using fondant. This is the only time I will ever use fondant, and also when I'm making a mermaid cake. That is the only time I'll be using fondant. Strict rule. But yeah, I don't love it. That's why I do like the satin ice gum paste, because it's just not sticky. I have really hot hands as well, so just never really works for me at all. All right, so I'm about that thick, which is pretty fine for me for the barn. I'm going to do the barn and I want to do the trees because I think I want to do a tree at the top as well, on top of the cake with this guy, maybe a chicken. All right, so I've got some water and a brush, and I want to just do a real thin layer of water on to the gum paste, but I also want to make sure that the full area is covered. I don't want little dry bits in between my brush strokes that are going to create air bubbles. I want the whole image to be stuck to the gum paste, but I also don't want it to be wet either. It's a tricky little medium to get the right consistency, but also enough coverage, right? And I'm simply just sticking it down. Make sure also that you do not get any of these images wet because they will bleed. So even putting my fingers onto the sticky fondant and then back onto the image is going to screw it up. So I'm conscious not to touch the wet fondant. Gum paste. Cool. All right, a bit further. And the other images I'm going to roll it out again and do it a bit thinner, because they're going to be stuck on the bottom of the cake. So they don't need to be as thick. And I like them a bit thinner because they're sort of like meld into the cake a little bit more. They're not kind of like stuck out thick pieces. You also don't want to flick any water into the one that you've already put on to the gum paste either. Okay, so a tree. And I've got another tree. I'll do a chicken. So I can probably do, I should have rolled it out a little bit more. I'll do the horse. I think that's it for now. Okay, so they are all stuck down. I'm actually just going to use the scalpel again just to cut around the images. The less fondant I have on here, or gum paste, the easier it's going to dry out. So you can leave these as they are overnight. Me being me, unorganized, but also a more foolproof method to put these in the oven. So you're going to put them on a baking tray with some baking paper and either face up or face down. I have had success with both face up and face down. I don't really see the difference. Sometimes if the oven is too hot, if they're face up, they start to curl up a little bit. So face down is probably safer. Either or. And pop it in the oven on the lower setting, like the keep warm setting, for about 10 minutes. They'll go soft, and then when you take them out and they start to cool, they will go rock solid. And so that only takes 10 minutes, not 24 hours. So that's very convenient for someone like me. Before I do that though, I am going to cut the fondant off the bottom here because I want to put some skewers in him, which some toothpicks here. So turn him over, make sure that's all dry. And then I'm just going to pop a few toothpicks in the back so that I can stand him up on the top of the cake literally just like that. Okay, then they can go in the oven as well. I'm going to do the same for both of the trees because I don't know which tree I'm going to use yet. Just be careful not to poke a hole into your image. I have done that many a time in the past. Very, very annoying. I think this one, that one's probably too thin. Anyway, we'll see. And same with the horse. So once these pieces are dry, I'll go back with my scalpel and just cut away the fondant around the image so that the fondant is sort of like behind the image, if that makes sense. And it'll look really cute. All right, so I'm going to roll out the rest of the stuff. Really quickly for you. So I'm rolling this out a whole lot thinner than what I've got up the top here. Cool, so a little bit thinner than what we were playing with before. And I'll give that a, now be super careful, do not drip onto what I've just done. That would be disastrous. I put a little bit too much on there, I'll spread that out. Let it sort of dry for a little second. So don't want it to be too wet and the water like soak into the image. Cow, pig, lamb, chicken. So same thing with this. Make them stick. Don't get wet on your fingers. Cool. And then I don't need to put any sticks in these because they're not going on the top of the cake, so I don't need to stand up. Chicken. Oh, silly. I had some bushes. Can we save some? Yep. Missed those. My hands are sticky now. Bushes. Sorry, forgot. These little shrubberies. A shrubbery. Fetch me a shrubbery. Now we've done all of them. Sticky fingers. Cool. So I'm gonna get a baking tray. Be right back. Baking tray. I'm just placing them on. Now, conscious that the baking paper kind of goes up the sides and you don't want it to be up the sidey at all. You want it to be flat because once they cool, that's how they will be. So conscious of that. I've got my oven on real low, like keep warm setting. I think it's like definitely less than 50, well, probably around 50 degrees, I think. And basically it just dehydrates the fondant and the image, right? So into the oven, and then I'll show you what happens. Okay, I just pulled my wangy dingies out of the oven. I pulled them out and they were starting to curve up a little bit. I think I put it on a little bit too hot. So I've actually flipped them and just let them cool that way that the image flattens on the tray. That makes sense. But hard-ish. Like, you know, I can still pull it, but I'll give that another couple of hours and they stand up straight. Ta-da! Without 24 hours worth of waiting for everything to dry. So once these have fully cooled, they are still a tiny bit warm. I'll trim away the fondant from the image and then they'll be super cute and ready to put onto our cake. So I'm going to do that a little bit later and then we'll come back. All right. Got my cake. All our little things are ready. So let's do, I want to do blue for the sky. And then we're going to pipe a few, oops, do some background grassy knolls along here. And then I also found this at Spotlight, which is really, I was looking for like a timber one, but it's like a felt one and it's white and I think that's cute. So we're going to use that as well. Blue, I'm going to go in with Bluebell. No, I'm going to go in with Baby Blue. And then I've been using Violets just to bring it back to Bluebell vibes. That makes sense. So a cooler blue. Also counteracts the yellow. So when you're looking for that sort of aesthetic blue. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. It is very cold today. Oh my God, my arm. And buttercream is feeling it. going to be some grassy things going on the top as well. So put the barn on the top. And then some grass and stuff, so this way. Cool. I've already got some mint mixed up. I just did mint, but I think I might add something else to it. Wow, this is really... I mean, I know my cakes are frozen. Like, not frozen, they're cold. They've been defrosting, but it's cold this morning. I don't mind decorating cakes in winter, don't get me wrong, because it's easier. But it's cold, sis. Alright, I might just put a little bit of this in it. Just to fatten her up. Let's go a little bit of olive and then more mint, I think. Might even put the tiniest little drop of yellow in, because I did add the blue. Cool. Aesthetically pleasing. Alright, I'm gonna do a puddle bag. With nothing in the bottom, obviously. I'm just gonna chop the bottom, just so I can get some control over the placement. And then bin. Right, where's the smaller spatula? Do I even have one of those anymore? There we go. So I just want to kind of make sure I'm not smudging the top line here. thinning it out a little bit. Cool, I kind of like the texture on it, to be honest. Let's clean up the bottom. Then we'll put the fence around it. I might just kind of cut this in sections. Oh, cute. That's pretty cute, isn't it? All right, we're going to put the moo cow in the front here. Cool. Let's pop a tree. I want to... probably should have done that behind the thing, but that's okay. Okay. Piggy. All right, let's head up the top first. Let's do the barn. We'll do the barn on the left. Do the horsey. And a tree. A little chicken. Now, I'll get my grass going at least. Little bush. Little bush. A little chicken. Oh, I don't know. It's very hard. Piggy, pig, sheep, sheep, and piggy. And a little chicken going on too. Where do I want this? Cute. I think there needs to be clouds, but I don't want to go too crazy. Okay, well, I think that's pretty cute, to be honest. Probably should have put another tree or something. I might leave it to dry, and I might even draw some like little birds or something like that. Some trees in the background. I think that would be cute. Just turn this one this way if I can. A bit more. Cute. Oh my God. Adorable. Adorable.